Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about hate. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, what is the thing that you hate the most in software development? Well, I'm gonna have to pick my answer really carefully here, because I can make a really short video and just insult a bunch of people. That could work as well. But I don't want to do that. I want to be nice and actually give you a real answer instead of flaming a language or a piece of technology or some other, like a process or something like that. The thing that I hate the most is seeing technical decisions being made that will end badly. Bad tech decisions make me sad. I hate it. I hate it so much. I have an analogy that I like to use to describe what it is that I see, and I see it happening all the time. And it can happen at many levels. It can be someone picks a really makes a really poor choice in an implementation that is very important to get right, or a tool, or someone adds a weird process or something like that. And it's like you watch a very well-oiled wheel on a wagon, and it just goes along, and then it goes through some mud, and first time it doesn't make much of a difference, and then it goes through a second time and a third time, and all of a sudden it doesn't spin as smoothly anymore. It starts slowing down, and the more mud you you get on that fucking thing, the slower it moves. And that process is horrible to me. It's absolute torture to see, and I get so verbally frustrated about it that I'm pretty sure that it has more than once, let's just say that it has hurt my options in career progression slightly, just slightly, a few times. I'm not saying too much about it. I'm just saying that I'm very well aware of that. I may have lost my cool once or twice about the thing, but of course in a very constructive manner, explained to someone why they're fucking over everything that the company is trying to do. Uh, Even though I was trying to be nice about it, it may have come across as slightly like, yeah, that, yeah, things happen. Let's just say that. But after apologizing, of course, saying that this is going to be fine, and then backtracking on the thing, we still did it, and it still turns out that, yeah, I unfortunately was correct about this thing. And even now, in these days, when I finally am so old and mature, and I can basically say that something's going to fuck something up completely without using those exact words, because I realized later on that the problem wasn't that I wasn't right about the thing, it's just that I said it in a bad way. So now I say it in a nicer way, and we still find this to be the same problem. And this is why I practice so much. So much. You are basically, I'm just using you guys. You're just pawns in my game so that I can get better at communicating how really, really shitty an idea is going to turn out for absolutely everybody involved. Because I hate this so much. I I I cannot describe it in words that make that hatred justice. And I want to be like, I don't want to control anybody. I don't want to tell anybody to, like, you should use this tool or that tool and so forth. I just don't want people to make really, really bad mistakes. There's so many options that you can pick from, and the only time I really react is if I see someone trying to be a little bit too clever, or underestimate how difficult something actually is. And I have seen it so many times. Everything from people trying to build a full-scale enterprise with WordPress, to people trying to implement a like their own really weird version of a message queue system that just, it does not work. It's not sustainable, and like it just continues. And in front end, it's the same sort of thing where I see people betting on like library after library changing like practices from on Monday, and then everybody's still doing the same damn thing on Friday, and then the next week they forgot all about it, and all of a sudden there's no direction anymore, and now the code base needs to support multiple versions of the same damn thing. I've been in code bases where people didn't even take the time to figure out that, you know what, we have 3 versions of jQuery in the same code base. We're loading all 3 libraries. It's just different versions. It's still jQuery. And I never, it never ceased to amaze me how we can get to so horrible positions for the company, for our own productivity, based on what seems sometimes to be almost weird decisions, like, or at the very least half-baked ideas or very unthought through things. And I'm not saying that I have genius. You mean nobody's claiming that everybody has to have everything right all the time, but surely sometimes it has to be possible to stop these sorts of things by just thinking things through an extra time and having a good dialogue with coworkers you trust. You can converse a little bit. Odds are that you're going to solve the majority of these sorts of problems if you genuinely care about solving these problems, and that you're including other people and getting more perspectives than your own. Because a lot of these issues come down to that one single developer thought he or she had a genius idea, and they didn't even check it first. Like, they just went with it without cluing other people in and trying to get a more holistic perspective on things. And that's the thing that usually is lacking. That's the thing that leads to this thing that I hate, to see how a company that it just you see it so many times, and you can look at practically any large-scale corporation. This is what leads to the slowing down of deliveries and and all the bugs and all of this stuff, where you make poor decisions just continuously, little by little. You're slowing down the entire process, and you compromise and compromise and compromise. Some compromises you have to. I mean, nobody's saying that you have to have a perfectly clean wheel, but surely being a little bit mud aware and trying to steer the wagon away from the worst mud should be in everybody's interest. So what I want you to take away from this is that the thing that I hate most about software engineering is to see continuously people make decisions that I know will slow down delivery cycles and create more bugs and issues or more complexity. All these tiny little decisions that are happening all the time, and they seem to the person who's making that decision as this innocent thing, because for some reason they don't look at the whole picture, and they don't seem to take the time to really consider how this decision is going to fit into the whole. And when you don't consider the whole when you're making these decisions, you're very likely to create these blockers that are supposed to be helping, but they're actually not helping. They're actually causing other sorts of problems. And nobody's perfect. Nobody can make all the right decisions, and that's why we need a diversity in the people who are involved in making big decisions. If you can get a well-rounded software team of developers who know what they're doing and have different perspectives, and they just talk it out, they will most likely come up with a fairly good solution. The worst thing you can do is to have one genius who thinks that they can come up with the best solution on just like that, without considering a broader perspective. That's what leads to this thing that I hate so much. So don't do that. Please, I beg you, because my heart just can't take it no more. Have a great day.